Oh, can we present two things at the same time? Present or invite? Oh, oh, look! Oh, oh, they're fooling us again, aren't they? Oh my God! It is the Cqse hamster up here in Wisconsin. I'm learning how to eat cheese curds, eating butter burgers and covers, and drinking Kugel. Hey, what's up? Hello, happy Palm Sunday. Hope you went to church and prayed for everybody because today is kind of a big day, right? When Jesus came into Jerusalem, knowing that he was about to die, right, in a couple of days to alleviate our sins because we're a sinful bunch of hairless monkeys here. And there you go. Share your referral link. Oh, yeah. All right. Share the StreamYard referral with your audience and earn $25 for every successful referral. I haven't seen any money yet, so there you go. There's a link, I guess. Go ahead and do whatever and give me money. Give it to me now. Do it. So we have a couple of objectives here. We're going to talk about this tragic story in Texas. But before that, we've got to make sure that Eric Zombro, get on the treadmill. Do it now. Do it. Work it, push it real good. Because, Zombro listens to our streams, and when he's working out, he's a big sweaty man. Oh my God. Ian Blades is here, live from Scotland. Hope your weekend went well, Ian, and everybody else. Enjoy Palm Sunday. And, well, first, let's tackle the initial question that everybody has. What beer are you drinking today, hamster? Everybody wants to know, right? Arvero's here. Hello. Well, today it's Vorsteiner. Ja, das einzig wahre. So this is German beer, and it's a pretty good damn beer. I like it. It's from Germany. Allemane for you Frenchies. It says brewed and canned in Germany by Vorsteiner Brauerei, the Kramer House in Vorstein, Germany. Yeah. It's got water, barley malt, hops, hop extract. Brewed according to the German purity law, the Reichsgebachhuhnen from 1514 or whatever. So it's pretty good beer. It used to be better. I think they changed the formula, but it's all right. Now, there's some warnings here for you. If you're French, is Mr. Hemi 4-speed here? Ooh la la, me Quebec, Francois. Yes. Hi, Y fan. He didn't sack because he was afraid of. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna get to that here in a minute. Mystery Man says a beer with a German accent. Yeah, do it. Drink the Wallsteiner. Do not doubt it. It is good. Like I said, it used to be better, but it's not. It was on sale down at my favorite liquor store here in the Northland, Binny's Liquor Warehouse. Got a whole 12-pack of this shit for like $13. They're giving it away. What the hell? God Almighty! Great God Almighty! It's the Palm Sunday discount, I guess. So yeah, I was kind of happy to see that. I was going to get the Czech beer, Pilsner Urkel, but I didn't have my bottle opener, and then I thought, well, hamster, you could buy a bottle opener. It's a couple of bucks here. It's like, I know, but what's it? Warsteiner. Okay. Warsteiner. How come you're not drinking Kugels? The strangest thing is I don't see a lot of regular original Kugels. I see a lot of the Shandy, which I've had. It's okay. But I'm old school. I like that non-flavored beer. Just give me a beer, man. I don't need any of that lemon juice in there. Oh my God. So yeah, wonderful day. And by the way, I had to go to Walmart to do some shit, right? And I was looking for a thumb drive because I have to do some stuff that I should be doing, but I'm still not home. You know what I mean? And so I went to I went to Walmart, And there they had everything's locked up, right? Same at Office Depot, wherever I found it eventually. But the crazy thing was the Walmart, they had their underwear locked up. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ. People coming in stealing underwear. Okay, then. But they had the shoes, tennis shoes and all kinds of shoes, not unlocked. But the underwear was locked up. And the socks. Okay. Well, must be corporate.
Yeah, we got this data here in the Six Sigma spreadsheet of the thing. But
anyway, so the beer's cold. I'm good. Windy day, cloudy. It's my kind of Sunday, you know what I mean? Take a nap. Oh, yeah. We're going to be doing that shortly. Anyway, so we got the thumb drive now at Office Depot. A 128 gig SanDisk thumb drive with USB-C and the regular USB. $19 for 128 gigs with the dual I/O. It's like, are you what? Again, they're giving this shit away. I don't know what's going on. Walmart, the same part, I think 64 gig, same part, was like $40. It's like, ooh, Office Depot is supposed to be more expensive. I could have gone to Best Buy, but you know what? I'm fucking lazy and I don't want to. I just wanted to get over to Benny's and find some brewskis. Anyway, they dress the underwear and just leave it. Oh, okay, maybe. Mr. Man, hamster, a beer with a German accent? Yes. I'm drinking Jamaica Man. Jamaican Red Stripe. Yeah. Red Stripe's good. All right. I got to open a fresh beer for this one because what a tragic story we have about this this killing and this misunderstanding or whatever the fuck it was. And my question, of course, is as the kids say, the prompt is when did young men, when did this happen where the next escalation from pushing and shoving and swearing and bitching is stabbing? When did that happen? Because I'm sure most of us have been, in altercations. You're a teenager, your testosterone's flowing, your dick is throbbing, you want to get laid, and all that stuff's going on. And it's been going on like that for thousands of years. When did it become suddenly a thing where you would think to grab a knife and stab someone? I mean, what the fuck? Now, we don't know the entire story because I heard that Tim Pool was saying something like, now, wait a minute, these bunch of, young men went after this guy, attacked him physically, and he was protected. I don't know, right? We're never going to know, probably until the trial or till the details come out. But I know there's some people on, he's a black guy. I don't think it has anything to do with he was a black guy. What it has to do with is where did young men come to this place where stabbing someone is a logical thing to do? It's not. So how did we get here? I mean, my understanding is both of these kids' families intact, mother, father, they're elite athletes in Texas, playing football in Texas. That's like fucking above college, right? It's crazy in high school. It's nuts if you're from Texas. How do these guys not learn to deal, aside from stabbing each other, with the normal general disrespect that other teams and other young men will give other young men? I don't believe it's a racial thing at all. It's just young men, my dick's bigger than yours, waving it out. You know what I mean? We've all been there. Well, I've got a Camaro. Well, I've got a Ford. Let's go out and race, or that kind of shit. When did it even enter the minds of young men? At what year? When did this happen? Where, yeah, these guys are giving me a hard time, and we don't know the story, but let's assume it's On one side, these guys are just saying you're in the wrong place. Now, this could be a racial thing on the part of the guy who unfortunately was killed. You're in the wrong place, N-word, or we don't know, right? Who knows? But the point is, even if somebody's calling you N-word and this and that, how do you make the leap from this guy disrespected me to killing the guy? Just how the fuck did this happen? I don't know. I mean, both of these kids, young men, rather, future is bright. Probably college scholarships, free rides at UT or Texas A&M or whatever. These guys are on their way. They're going to get scholarship offers. They're going to play football. Who knows? Eventually, maybe make it to the major leagues. You never know. And now the one guy is a corpse, and the other guy is facing possibly decades in prison because someone was in your face, kind of disrespecting you. How does this do these young men not get any de-escalation training? Do they not understand that, hey, guys saying you have a small dick or whatever? That's what young men do. Just blow it off and say, hey, whatever, we'll see you on the field and we're going to win this game. Or when did this go away? Isn't that what we used to do? I know nobody ever stabbed anybody that I knew of because there was disrespect ever. I mean, it's just ridiculous. All right. Let's crack a fresh beer and get into the story. Boy who stabbed athlete to death in front of his twin brother at a Texas track meet makes shock move as court date looms, and there's some words here. So it says, let me get let me get to the real story here. Hold on. Okay. 17-year-old young man accused of stabbing an athlete to death in Texas has hired a new defense attorney and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so there's some other lawyers changing spots or whatever. So the kid's name that was killed was Austin Metcalf, 17-year-old kid, was killed on April 2nd at some stadium in Frisco after Carmelo Anthony allegedly, that's the perpetrator that allegedly killed the guy. Mr. Anthony pulled out a knife on him for sitting in the wrong area during a track meet, according to police. Okay, so this sounds like normal pissing and moaning and dick measuring contest among teenage boys. And these are athletes, right? They're apparently track and field. They might also participate in football or whatever. How does it get there? What's the path where normal dick measuring pissing contests among teen boys, how does it get to someone dead? That doesn't make any fucking sense. I mean, is there something missing here? Is it a part of the story? Kind of makes you wonder, wait a minute. Mr. Anthony, he's an athlete, track and field runner. I'm sure, good family, all this stuff. He had everything going for him. Suddenly decides to pull out a knife and stab a guy to death. How does that happen? What mindset do you have to have? It's like, hey, Brandon Trueblood said I had a small penis, which he does all the time. So I'm going to pull out a knife and kill him. What? Yeah, I mean, if you don't know the person, you're going to get some beef, right? You go up to a random stranger on the street. Oh, your wife tells me as I was fucking her. Whatever insult you want to make. But still, is that something to kill somebody over? I don't think so. So Carmelo allegedly stabbed Austin in the heart, killing him. After Austin told him he was sitting in the wrong... Okay, so Austin... Okay, the guy was killed, told Carmelo he was in the wrong seat at the match between their two schools, according to the teen's family. After he was stabbed, he bled to death in his twin brother's arms. Can you imagine that? His twin brother, right? They're there. They're going to compete. And there's some beef. And it gets escalated to the point where someone gets killed. What the hell is going on? Not just young men. It's everybody in this country and in parts of the Western world. Where did this become acceptable? I mean, thank you. Teens have been beefing and calling each other F words and stuff for forever. That's the way men work, you know. Where did this suddenly become violent? I don't know. So the lawyers are going away and blah blah blah. Carmelo deserves it. Every citizen. Yeah, of course. Yeah, give him the trial. So here's the young man who's accused of killing the guy. Another athlete again. You know, in Texas, probably pretty elite. Big future ahead of him. And here's the kid that's dead now, who was stabbed in the in the heart. Austin was stabbed to death after he told Carmelo he was sitting in the wrong area during a track meet. How did this potentially this man, this Carmelo, the accused killer, how would telling you you're in the wrong seat? There's got to be something missing, guys. There's got to be something missing in this story. That just does not sound like something normal people would do if somebody is giving you shit that you're in the wrong place or whatever. I don't understand it. I bet there was a little bit more to the story. Do you think? But again, even if calling him an N word and a da 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 and I fucked your girlfriend, still, how does that get to be the solution to the problem? Is killing a guy? Just, oh my god. I mean, I'm not laughing to laugh. It's just it's unbelievable. It's like two young men have beef, one's dead. Why? How does this happen? Let's see what you guys are saying. Ro's here, Grinchy is here, and Mystery Man. Everybody's here today. Oh my God. Aledius. It's been violent for a peaceful beefing is a historical aberration. Oh, that's probably true to some degree. Engineer and Hickory Striped Hat. Welcome to East St. Louis, 1969. Well, I don't know. Thanks, Outlaw. Oh my God. The black lady looks like the YouTuber dancer guy. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Good-looking young man with a future ahead of him, and oofda. This is some crazy-ass shit. That's all I can say. We will find out just what occurred. I suspect it's just that simple answer. Well, got him. Again, unless the kid that was killed is coming at him with a knife or something, no, I mean, that's just not acceptable. I mean, again, maybe that's part of the story. Maybe these other guys had knives, or they were going to attack him, or bats, or some shit. Okay, well then I might pull out a knife too. If somebody's coming after me with barbed wire encased bats, and they're going to come after my ass, okay. I wonder if this wasn't really a racial thing after all. Maybe these kids came in there. You know what the kids can do. You know. So, but again, even in that case, unless these other men were coming at him with weapons, Mr. Carmelo should not have pulled out a knife. Right? He's a physically fit man. He can defend himself, right? So unless there was, 5, 6 dudes coming at him with some kind of weapon, again, there's a lot missing. A lot of details missing in the story. So we'll find out more, but such a tragedy. A tragedy for everyone involved. Obviously for the kid who is now dead, and for this guy who might spend 70 years in jail if he's convicted. It's terrible. Just absolutely fucking awful stuff. So apparently people are raising money for both Carmelo and the kid who is now dead. Carmelo remains in custody at Collin County Jail on a $1 million bond. Buzzard is expected to ask for a reduction on Monday. Teens legal team, Private funeral was held for the kid on Saturday. God bless America. God. This is unacceptable shit, man. I don't know what the answer is, but this isn't the answer. This is ridiculous. And again, this isn't, some gang violence or some, fatherless kid, drug dealer or whatever. Both good families, both intact families, good people, and there's just no explanation that makes any sense. And here's this guy. This is the poor, the victim of all this crap. So yeah, that's wow. All right, let me stop sharing here. That's crazy. I mean, there's got to be a way to talk to these kids, young men especially. You got to de-escalate this shit. Just walk away. You know, somebody's in your face, just get up and leave. Again, unless there was some more to the story we don't know about. Maybe they wouldn't let him leave. We don't know, right? So let me see if I can find Tim Pool's take on it. We'll have a look at that. I still have more beer. Mm-hmm. No, of course not. Exactly. That would be too easy. Well, I'll have to make plans. Tim Pool destroys liberal women who dated conservative men. All right, let's go here. We'll try this one.
On no way. And when you're ready to submit, it's not.
He figured she agreed.
It's far from Eden, so.
If he asked me any questions about myself.
Yeah.
He still leaned in and tried to kiss me. We never saw each other again. You know what I see from this lady?
Yeah, I don't know, Batty Commander, if that's the case. I haven't read deeply into the story, but I don't think it was a single mother type deal. I think it was the intact family with dad there, and you know, something went wrong here. Something went really badly wrong, and one kid is dead.
When you write this,
and the other's life is pretty much fucked at this point, and it's such a shame. It's really a shame. Let's go back to the beginning here a little bit. See what Tim's talking about. Go ahead.
Communist, socialist, what have you, is our empathy and our compassion has been turned out towards the world instead of in to our families where it belongs.
Oh, okay.
You take the good qualities that women actually have and you pervert them and you channel them somewhere else. That's what you get. And the communists who want communism know that. That's why one of the first things that
Let's talk about the helicopter here before I go get some lunch. This is another crazy fucking. I mean, this is something that's so rare. You know, Brandon Trueblood can tell you more about it. He was in the aircraft industry, but this is something that's so rare. It's almost unheard of, where the what appears the helicopter rotors and the transmission, which is attached to the engine, just ripped off of the aircraft. That just, and I think 6 people were killed in this crash in New York yesterday or Friday. So let's look at the video here. This is from Forbes. They say there's a new angle. Let's go ahead and look at it. Okay, so here comes the helicopter. Everything looks fine. And right about here, so you can see something really bad just happened. Boom. So the helicopter is actually going sideways, which they can do, but under a controlled situation. And you can hear some noise too. So everything is starting to go to hell here. And it appears that the rotors and the thing holding the rotors on, the transmission to the helicopter, just flew off. Just broke. Which again, it's such a rare thing to happen. It almost never happens. Because, you know, as they design these things and test these things, and there's special metal in there and various other things and maintenance and all that stuff. So I don't really want to see it fall into the river here, but we'll go. Okay, there you can see some stuff detaching itself from the helicopter. And we don't have to look at that. But what some of this stuff allegedly is the actual rotor and the transmission that just broke off of the helicopter, which is, again, extremely rare. And it was Blanco Lirio. Let me go get Blanco Lirio. He's got good explanation for this. I'll stop sharing for a moment. But what a tragedy, you know, Jesus. Just going out for a sightseeing tour. This is Blanco Lirio. Whoop. Blanco Lirio. Okay. Okay, so here's his take on it. We'll go there. Mm-hmm. Right. I just did my taxes today. Doesn't take that long. Let's see, share screen. And I owe money to Missouri. Son of a bitch. And since I'm on the road, I don't have my checkbooks, and all I have to figure out how the hell I got to pay that bill by Wednesday, I guess, or Tuesday. What is it? 13/4 Tuesday. So, okay, let's listen to Blanco Lirio here, kind of walk us through. He's a aviation expert on this stuff. So go ahead.
Another tourist helicopter has gone down. This one occurred yesterday on the 10th of April in New York City. The helicopter crashing into the Hudson River, wiping out an entire family, killing all 6 people on board.
Hey, these were a whole family out celebrating anniversaries or something. The kids, the wife, the whole thing. They're all tragic stuff.
Here's what we know so far. The accident occurred yesterday, 10 April, about 3:15 local time. The helicopter involved was a Bell 206 Long Ranger, owned by Meridian Helicopters out of Louisiana and operated by New York Helicopters in New York City.
Now, in case you guys haven't been to New York, helicopter tours are really a big deal, right? A lot of helicopters flying around. People want to see the sights, right? Of course. And this is one of the companies that provides that service to, tourists that want to come in and see New York, because it really is a cool place.
The tail number was November 216, Mike Hotel. It's a 2004 model helicopter. The weather at the time of the accident were winds 150 at 10, gust 18, and good visibility over 10 miles.
So it doesn't appear, this wasn't a collision. It could be birds. We don't know. They're still, obviously, the NTSB is going to have to investigate. But I mean, clearly something bad happened. You could see it on the video. Something started flying off the helicopter, which again, almost never happens. Very rare.
Some more detailed information on the helicopter shows that it was certified to operate under FAR Part 135 for charter or hire, and had about 9,600 hours total time on the airframe. The tour operator was New York Helicopters, based in New York, and here's the different rides that you can go on.
Look at the prices, though. $354 per person. Jesus. Well, okay. I mean, it's a once in a lifetime. You might as well.
Anywhere from $224 per person up to $354 per person.
Yikes.
On preset tours around New York City.
I think the family was Spanish. They were from Spain, I believe. So, you don't get to New York every day if you live in Spain. So, yeah, okay, splurge a little bit.
ADSB data suggests a perfectly normal tour up until the catastrophic failure of the helicopter occurred right here near the Holland Tunnel Bridge. So the flight departs the south tip of Manhattan, does a circle near the Statue of Liberty, heads up the east side of the Hudson River all the way up to the George Washington Bridge, turns around, goes down the west side of the Hudson River back towards the base.
And that would be a nice tour too, because all the buildings are there. You got Jersey on one side, New York on the other. Yeah. I mean, that would be cool to see that. Unfortunately, well, let's go on.
And looking at this data, the altitudes and ground speeds look perfectly normal right up to the end when something suddenly and very catastrophically went wrong with the helicopter.
Yep.
The route that the helicopter was flying is a published route along the Hudson River here, and listening to the ATC.
Jesus, look, oh my God, look at all that information, aviation information there. Jesus Christ. These pilots are actually amazing to understand all this
data. There was no sign of any trouble from the pilot at any time during the tour, and he was making his normal radio calls at these VFR waypoints along the route here, and made his last radio call passing abeam the Intrepid right here southbound on the west side of the Hudson River before the accident happened right here by the Holland Tunnel. It's being widely reported that the CEO of New York Helicopters, Michael Roth, reported to the Telegraph that the pilot radioed in that he needed some more fuel. He wasn't running out of fuel. He was simply saying that I'm going to need another load of fuel before I continue to take more passengers.
And I think we're going to hear eventually that this was like the 16th tour of the day. I'm not sure if it was the same pilot, but it was the 16th helicopter ride of the day. That's something.
The Bell 206 has a two-bladed semi-rigid rotor system as shown here, and it is connected to a transmission that looks like this here. The transmission is mounted to the airframe via these two V-shaped beams, one on each side of the transmission. And here's what it looks like if one of these beams should fail.
So, I mean, obviously that has to be a stout attachment to the aircraft, because that's what's making, helping it fly there, or else it won't fly. Batty Commander, is he saying the God bowl was loose? I don't know what the hell. Something apparently happened. We don't know yet.
Transmission is then connected to the turbine engine via this drive shaft, and then also connects to the tail rotor drive, either with a common shaft or a separate shaft. Inside this transmission is a very robust and reliable planetary gear system. Here's the drive shaft coming into the transmission, and the planetary gears, and the power going out to the main rotor.
I mean, that's the thing about these things, is that this transmission has probably been around for 40 years. Once they make them and they perfect them, they stay the same. There's no reason to change them. So again, it's only speculation at this point, but it's kind of sounds like something went really bad. Maybe a fatigue part crap. We just don't know, right? But God damn, dangerous, really.
Here's a better view of the whole assembly.
I mean, I was on a helicopter once, and I think it was at Disney World when it first opened. They had helicopter rides down there, and my grandfather, he was like, "Oh yeah, let's go on the helicopter." It's like, okay, and it was cool and everything, but this was like early 1970s, so they were probably war surplus helicopters from Vietnam or whatever. Not sure. I mean, everything worked out all right because we're sitting here talking 50 some years later, but yeah, I mean, it's cool and everything, but there's always a risk when you get an airplane.
Here's the beams supporting the transmission into the airframe. Here's the drive shaft from the engine powering the gearbox, and here's the shaft powering the main rotor.
Now, looking at this, the schematic diagram here, this is the real thing. That looks a little kind of thin to me. I don't know. Again, I'm not a metallurgist, and I don't know, analyze metal and all that stuff. But that kind of looks like a little bit. There's no real reference in there. That could be 6 inches wide. We don't know, but I don't know. Looks a little bit like I don't know about that. But like this transmission's been around for decades, so they've figured it out. So something bad really happened here.
Protecting this transmission is a oil pressure gauge and a oil temperature gauge, specifically dedicated to the transmission. Also protecting the transmission is oil filters and chip detector lights that light a red light in the cockpit if in the event that metal chips complete the circuit between the chip detector, indicating that there is a problem with the transmission.
Now, I would have to know exactly how far the sensors are apart where they can short with metal chips, because it'd have to be pretty close, right? It couldn't be like a ½ inch or something, because that would be you're done if you got ½ inch chunks of metal floating around in your oil. But again, we don't know. We know what happened.
So what I'm saying is that normally you have an indication of an impending failure of the transmission that normally gives you time to react and do a precautionary or emergency landing before something fails. Now, a lot of people online are speculating on mast bumping.
Okay, you can see here in this picture, zoomed in. This is the entire rotor assembly with the transmission hanging out the bottom here. That had to be a catastrophic fucking failure, right? Bolts or something. That just doesn't happen. You know, I'm not saying this is the first time it's ever happened, but this is rare. Like 1 in a million type rare. And you can see, unfortunately, the helicopter on its way down.
Mast bumping is not a common occurrence on the Ranger 206 series of helicopters. It is very common in the Robinson series of helicopters, but because of the design of the rotor system of the Bell, it's not very common. And most importantly, an NTSB investigators will be corroborating this video and photographic evidence of the crash as it happened. Once the investigators find the rest of the parts to the helicopter, they'll be able to easily determine exactly what failed first in this situation. But
I believe what they mean by mast bumping is the the rotors, the wings, I suppose, of the helicopter run. You know, they bash into the helicopter itself, and that's puts extreme stress, obviously, on the drive shaft. So that would potentially do something like
this
that.
Picture here shows the complete main rotor system and transmission still attached to the main rotor system, auto gyrating down well above the rest of the helicopter. Now, reviewing this video of the initial breakup of the helicopter enters the frame from the left in what appears to be normal flight.
Looks normal to me, right? Nothing, no chunks coming off yet. But
and then right there,
something bad happened right there. And it doesn't appear that there's pieces coming off of the helicopter yet. So could have been the shaft to the tail rotor broke, or the entire freaking deal just kind of failed, right? Crazy.
Something breaks internally to the helicopter. The helicopter spins and parts start leaving the helicopter.
Yep.
And it's hard to tell from this blurry image what we're looking at, but comparing this image to the still picture, I believe this is going to be the main rotor assembly with the transmission still attached, and the rest of these parts are going to be parts of the tail rotor.
Yeah.
So what failed first is kind of hard to tell from this grainy footage, but something right there failed suddenly. And I believe
probably the tail rotor is what I would say, because the tail rotor controls how the aircraft, excuse me, I'm not an expert. I'm just, there's that thing in the back that spins, that keeps the thing from, the anti-torque to keep it straight, all that. Yeah. Oh, wait, wrong one. Go ahead. Oh, still wrong one. Jeez. Okay.
I believe investigators are probably going to find that something seized up quite suddenly in the transmission of this helicopter, which just caused the whole thing to come apart quite suddenly. It's like putting a stick in the spokes of your bicycle as you're going down the hill. It's just going to all fly to pieces almost simultaneously.
And that's kind of what happened, yeah. Engineer Hickory Stripe. The chip detector collects enough crap on a magnet to bridge 3/16. Oh, okay. So yeah, that's pretty that's pretty small. Spock Talk is here. Live long and prosper, Mr. Spock. The needs of the many. Panther-fed shaft. Oh my God. Jerry the Warhorse. He was a Black Hawk crew chief for a few years. And Polska Bob is here. My guess, 2 amps. The tail rotor keeps calling. Yeah. So Jerry, what do you think? Is it possible that the tail rotor shaft did something weird and it broke the transmission, or what's your take on it? Curious to know, since you're an expert at that.
And looking at the condition of the rotor, back over here, it doesn't appear to me that the rotor struck the tail and knocked the tail boom off. It appears to me that the whole thing came apart quite rapidly because of a sudden stoppage of, I believe, something in either the main transmission or the engine transmission.
Yeah.
So this is a very rare occurrence of a mechanical failure in the
This is like 1 to the minus ninth, like 1 in a billion almost. This just doesn't happen, right? Just doesn't happen. So this is going to be something certainly to investigate. Jerry says the aircraft will stay straight using the cambered fairing at about 60 knots and above. Ah, okay. So once it gets forward motion, it stays straight by itself. Okay, cool. Jerry the Warhorse, if it spins, it lost the entire tail. Yeah, that's kind of what people are thinking, is that something really bad happened, and you can see it just whip around really fast. And that would kind of indicate maybe, again, you're the expert, kind of looks like the tail rotor kind of took a shit. And then catastrophic damage failed, or catastrophic failure then happened after that damage, and then the entire freaking rotating assembly flew off the aircraft. The crazy thing is that the spinning rotors and the transmission floated gently to ground with auto rotate. I mean, that's crazy shit. And somebody mentioned the airbags in the aircraft. True. I don't think they had time to initiate that before they splashed out. But you can see in some of the pictures here in a bit that the airbags were deployed, but not in time.
Bell 206 aircraft. I've only heard of maybe 2 possible failures like this before in the past, but once investigators get all these parts together and corroborate this video evidence, they're going to get a pretty quick idea of what happened. And one of the first things investigators are going to be looking at is the maintenance, the previous maintenance on this helicopter, especially the most recent maintenance on this helicopter. So whatever happened extremely quickly. Note also in this picture, the flotation devices required now on the skids of these tour helicopters are not inflated. The pilot certainly does not have any time to inflate the airbags or the flotation devices during this incident. But if we look at the post-crash picture of the recovery of the helicopter, it looks like these flotation devices were deployed. It's more than likely that these flotation devices were deployed automatically upon impact.
That seems likely, right? It hits water and it just automatically deploys. That would kind of make sense, right? Because if you're in the middle of all this shit going on, you hit the water, the bags. Unfortunately, it didn't help. Now, I heard the depth of water at that point in the Hudson River was 5 feet. So this helicopter probably just crashed into the bottom of the river, man. That's just fucking awful. Just terrible stuff, man.
The water. Had this been a mast bump, again, very rare in a 206 helicopter, the mast would have failed above the transmission. The transmission would not be attached to the mast and rotor system. Instead,
so I think he's saying that if they had a mast bump, whatever, I think when the rotors hit the aircraft itself, it would break the shaft and not the transmission. But God only knows, right? Now we'll have to ask Jerry the Warhorse. I mean, do they do all the magnetometers and they do all the stress fracture stuff, every 100 hours or whatever? I don't know.
Instead, the mast would have failed more than likely exactly where it was bumped by the rotor itself. That's the rotor exceeding the tilt angle on the mast.
Right.
And here on this video on X, we can see the main rotors doing a perfectly stable auto gyro down with the transmission still attached.
Just goddamn. There's I mean, you hate seeing it because people's lives are being taken, right? It's such a horrible thing. Horrible.
So once investigators find all the pieces of the wreckage of this helicopter, they'll be able to fairly quickly figure out exactly what happened here. Condolences to everybody affected by this tragedy. Just a very sad, another crash of a helicopter, tour industry helicopter. Thank you so much for your support of this channel, especially the folks over on Patreon that make this content possible. See you here.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Hey, Jerry, you want to come on and talk about this or what? I'll put a link out there. Let's see, copy. Yeah, if you want to come in there. Polska Bob is here. He's having fun. He's just a few hours through my south. Join if you want to, guys. Yeah, that's just an awful situation. You know, but I mean, it's, again, we, you know, we think, you know, it's safe and all that. Every time you get an aircraft, there's a risk. It's a very minor risk, 1 in a million, you know, 1 in 10 million, whatever it happens to be, what they design it to, but there's a risk. That shit could happen. All right, Jerry, let's get you on here. All right. Hello, Jerry.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Well, we're kind of wondering, you're kind of an expert in this area. What do you think is going on here?
Well, I actually thought we were still talking about the Black Hawk crash in the Hudson. Are we talking about a Bell helicopter, one of those Jet Rangers?
Yeah, this is the tourist helicopter that crashed on Thursday in New York in the Hudson River.
Fuck, that Hudson River is collecting all sorts of parts, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Jesus. Well, that's fucked up. Well, I can speak a little bit on it. I mean, helicopter is pretty much the same, and I got not a whole lot of experience on the airframes, but a little bit on Chinooks and Apaches just by being around them. But yeah, you know, the military is pretty good on taking care of the aircraft. There's very, very few maintenance errors, at least when I was in. The private sector, they pinch pennies a bit more, but it's still extremely strict because you have to follow all the FAA guidelines and they don't really mess around. But that doesn't mean that, you know, people don't fudge the books and all that stuff.
I mean, of course, that's been alleged, but we don't know, right? The investigation has to happen.
Yeah, I didn't even see the video. I just popped on to say hi, but did it just fall apart in the sky without touching anything? Like it didn't hit anything?
Yeah, I can show it to you again here. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me share it. Geez, if I can find my thing. If I could find my thing, man. All right, let's see. Let's see here. Share screen. All right. Hudson crash. Okay. Do that again. This is Blanco Lirio. I don't know if you watch his channel, but that's not his name. His name is not Blanco Lirio, but it's the Blanco Lirio channel. Okay.
I'll check it out.
All right. Let me see if I can find. Okay, here's what happened. Let's see here.
On mast bumping, but mast bumping is not a common occurrence on the Ranger 206 series of helicopters. It is very common in the Robinson series of helicopters, but because of the design of the rotor system of the Bell, it's not very common. Helicopter enters the frame.
Okay, so can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so here's the aircraft, the helicopter, just flying normally up until this point, and then watch it spin around. It's pretty crazy.
From the left in what appears to be normal flight, and then right
Boom.
there.
What the?
So, yeah.
Oh, that
And
looks
then-
like that looks like a straight maintenance failure right there.
You think so?
Yeah, because there wasn't any abnormal conditions. I mean, to get the main rotor to flex so much to where it took the tail off,
Yeah.
which is it's possible with more of a flexible rotor and a lower mast. I mean, the Blackhawks could do that if you try taxiing backwards and put too much rear collective in and this and that, or maybe your droop stops fail on shutdown. But for that aircraft, it looks like it just had airframe damage from I don't know, from whatever overuse or lack of inspection.
I mean, would that happen if your tail rotor just suddenly stopped working? Would you spin around like that, or yeah?
Yeah, that tail rotor just came right off. It didn't stop spinning. That motherfucker came off. I could tell from
You can
looking
see.
at it.
Well, he's going through it here slowly, but you can see the actual rotor and the transmission and the shaft and all that shit flew off right there.
Oh, yeah.
Right there.
Yeah, shit. That looks like a maintenance failure right there. I'd put money on that.
Yeah, they don't know yet. But I mean, I assume, as I mentioned in the chat, you guys have to go through the magnometers or whatever and check the metal fatigue and all that crap, right? I assume.
Yeah, you get you have to send in oil samples and they have to be tested and I don't know how they do it, like some sort of a flame spectrometer or some shit like that, test for different metals and identify where those metals came from based on the parts and their makeup. So,
Right. I mean, you'd be looking for like bearings would be like copper probably or something, and whatever
yeah, it
different kind of
depends.
metal.
It depends. Let me think. Whew, you're bringing up some. It's been a while. I got on 17, so it's been a hot minute. Yeah, bearings. They're probably I don't know, I think a steel, something like that. But yeah, you're definitely looking for that shit in the oil, and the chip detectors in the transmission should pick up a lot of the stuff if it's a transmission failure. But that looks like an airframe failure right there.
Yeah, it certainly does. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, if the rotors and shit flew off, that's a problem.
Yeah,
You know?
it takes a lot to get those things off of there. I mean, shit, I've seen some crazy crashes. When we were in Afghanistan, we crashed like half of our fleet. Either crashed
Really?
or shot down, one of the two. And I mean, I've seen entire sections blown off by an RPG, and the thing still lands just fine.
Really? No shit.
Yeah, I
Wow.
I was flying into shit, I don't remember, Tarin Kowt or whatever in Afghanistan, and I looked over and I saw like a whole tail section missing. I was like, holy fuck, the rest of it looks just fine.
And it still worked. Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They yeah, they were out going and doing some crazy shit for sure. But yeah,
I
crashes.
mean,
What's
well, I
up?
mean, that's the military too. I mean, the military has standards that are above like commercial. You know.
Yeah, I'd say so. Just by the fact that we and I say we being out of it, but we basically replace stuff way more often and way closer
Sure.
to its limitations. Just because our mission too, we have to have aircraft up, and we don't want them to fall within maintenance range while we're unable to get maintenance. You know, out in the middle of nowhere.
So
So
I mean, you guys you actually have engineers and mechanics? It's like, okay, this rotor has 80 hours on it, replace it, that kind of thing, or
yeah. So I was a crew chief. We also flew on the aircraft in the Army, um, and then so we fixed it, and then we had higher level maintenance, the unit maintenance, and then if you really needed work, you got intermediate maintenance, and that's usually around the brigade. It's a battalion level, so it requires a lot more people. But you know, when we're out and about, you know, we still keep records no matter where we're at, so you can
sure.
tell how many hours something has left on it and when it should be replaced.
So I assume the manufacturers who makes these helicopters, Northrop or Lockheed or something, Boeing,
Well, that one right there, Bell, but for the Blackhawks, it's Sikorsky produced.
Sikorsky.
Yeah, they were purchased by United, I believe, United Technologies. But Bell, I'm not sure if Bell is its own company anymore. They probably got bought up by somebody.
Yeah, I would guess probably. So I mean,
Yeah.
they send you a manual and says, here's the deal. At 75 hours, check the magnometer, and then at 80 hours, replace the fucking thing. Is that kind of how it works? Or
Yeah. You'll get the majority of your maintenance requirements, your specific ones from the manufacturer, and they stay in pretty good communication with the people who run the helicopters too, because it's in their benefit that they don't crash.
sure,
Plus, they want to sell them parts and services. So they could talk to an engineer if they have a question about limitations of a bearing or a certain play in a mechanical item or whatever. They've got access to all that.
don't they design these things to do a certain amount of time and that's it, right? I think.
Oh no, airframes if they're
Not airframes. I mean, like bearings and
oh
oil
yeah
and that
oh
kind of
god
crap.
yeah everything has a time limit on it for sure. The airframe itself could last forever. I've worked on airframes that were from the 70s and 60s that were still
Right.
operating. But
Yeah.
yeah, the engine components uh, like turbines and compressors, rotating components. Those things have a certain life on it.
Sure. And if you do the maintenance at a certain point, it'll last that much longer, that kind of thing. Just like your car, right? I assume.
Yeah,
You know,
pretty
you
much.
change the oil and it's going to last better, be better. I would hope.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. It'll keep running. You won't fall out of the sky if you're doing everything right. Generally speaking.
So, I mean, if you're not shot out of the sky, have you seen any of these things fall down like this? Or
Besides that, and a few of the commercial ones, I have not seen any military aircraft fall out of the sky. We had some civilians work on one of our Hawks before, and they did such a shitty job. It was almost catastrophic. The tail was basically falling apart as we're flying in, but that's because civilians touched it.
Well, yeah. Well, they're cheaper, I guess, than the Army. Well, I don't know. Who knows,
No,
right?
they're not cheaper. They're just I just know the retards that go and work for them.
Oh my God!
It's
Oh
the
my God!
Washouts and the dumbasses. I mean, you get a few decent people over there, but they'll pick up the trash that the Army throws away. And that's weird to say that because everybody thinks the low IQ retards are the ones that go in the Army, but generally speaking, aviation's pretty good. I mean, it's changed a lot since when I joined. I joined in 04, and when I got out in 17, the demographic was completely different. It's like 2 generations just skipped.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. So I couldn't tell you about it right now.
Yeah.
I probably have to have my pronouns on my uniform.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you have a transgender whatever, they still have to follow the procedure, right? They have to maintain it the same way. No?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Everything's done a certain way, and it rarely changes.
Yep.
So
And
yeah,
whether you think it needs it or not, it's going in. You're changing the oil or whatever the hell it is.
yeah, you
I
have to
guess.
have in order to skip things, and we have before. You'd have to have approval from like the brigade commander usually.
Right. You got to have some stripes in there. Sure.
Yeah, and even like a couple panels, if fixed panels and more than a certain amount of screws are not installed on that, the aircraft can't go anywhere. It's crazy. You could easily keep a panel on with 25% of the screws required. In fact, a lot of the hardware on some of these helicopters can not be installed, but we're like, if there's 4 of them that are not on there and you need to replace nut plates, the aircraft doesn't go anywhere until that shit's done. Or
Right.
you get approval from like the brigade or the battalion commander, depending on the type of maintenance.
I mean, if the men that were like in Vietnam, sometimes they had to take up something a little shaky to get the guys out or whatever, right? I assume.
Oh
That
yeah.
probably happened. Yeah.
Yeah. That shit changes depending on the conditions. Like I was in the 101st, and things were pretty strict. And then I went over to what's called Task Force 160th, and they did things way different. Like we still stuck by the manuals, but when you're out there in the middle of nowhere and there's absolutely no assets around you, I mean, you do what you can, and like whatever you can, duct tape,
Right. Well,
all
yeah.
sorts of shit.
I mean, if you're fighting a war, I mean, it's kind of a different thing. You got to get your shit up there and keep your people protected. I would guess, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Support your guys on the ground. Yeah, that's interesting. So
Yeah.
it was a Black Hawk, and you said that was a Northrop Grumman, or what? I missed that.
Sikorsky.
Sikorsky, right? Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I was probably sucked up by Raytheon. They suck up everything.
Yeah.
If they can get their hands on it. So
Fucking Raytheon, yeah, right.
yeah, well,
Yeah. All right.
indeed. So
All right,
well,
brother. I got to get
interesting
going.
chat, sir. Yeah.
Man. I'm listening to you and building some window casing in a room I'm renovating.
Well, I'm so glad you are, sir. You have a good day and really appreciate it. Come back some other time when you have time.
Of course, man. Appreciate it.
All right.
And
Yeah.
Yep.
Take care.
See you, man.
Bye-bye. Yep. Bye. So there we have an expert, guys. That's the beautiful thing about this internet and men, that we talk to each other. Hey, Does anybody know about these helicopters? Jerry the Warhorse steps in. Fuck yeah, man. I know this. I did this stuff. It's amazing, isn't it? And there were no women. Stop it now. Anyway, I got to go eat lunch. So this was fun, you guys. You know, tragedy all over the place. But it was a good time. It's always good to see you guys. God bless you. Palm Sunday. Jesus is coming to save your soul, whether you like it or not. Next weekend. And of course, peace be upon everyone. The Jewish folks had their Passover. And you know, God bless them and God bless us all. All right, guys. Take care. We'll talk to you soon from the great state of Wisconsin, where you have to be a Green Bay Packer fan or you don't get a cheese head. See you later. Take care.